Hi, my name is Kenniyah Jenkins, interviewing my cousin,
Ebony Fulmore.
and today I'm going to ask her a couple questions I have prepared for her. So, Ebony, what is your definition of beauty?
I think beauty is more than skin deep. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, as they, always say. That's the cliche theme that everyone always says. But I believe that beauty comes from the inside.
What do you mean comes from the inside? Like, what's your...
Inside, who you are as a person, your character. Are you kind? Are you nice? Are you mild? Are you meek? Are you a people's person? Do you care about people? Your characteristics that makes you beautiful.
Okay. Do you think that society has turned the definition of beauty dependent on your race and not how you look or your character?
Yeah, I think that plays an important part of it. With society, as little black girls growing up, when I say society, I'm thinking about TV. I'm thinking about commercials. I'm thinking about shows, because that's what a lot of our young children watch, and much more is caught than taught. What does that mean? What do you mean by that? Caught and taught.
What do you mean by caught and taught?
Much more is caught than taught. So they pick up much more what they see than what they're actually taught. So growing up, and when I grew up, TV was good, but TV wasn't only thing that we did. We went outside, we rode bikes. So TV wasn't a big influential part of me growing up. But when I say much more is caught, what you see is what you do.
Yeah. So you do think that it's dependent on your race. It's not about who you really are inside.
Well, I don't really think it has something to do with race. I think, for instance, when they say, for instance, all these little girls that are growing up, and when they talk about baby dolls and stuff like that, they bring up the Caucasian dolls, the light-skinned dolls, not dolls that actually look like us, or because we're different shades of color. So, we have the tan, we have the pecan tan, we have the dark roast, but we don't see that commercialized. So, if our children always see the Caucasian or the light skin, those are the dolls we're going to want, because that's what we see.
Yeah. Do you believe that commercials present white women with long hair and refer to as a sexy body lowers the self-esteem of little black girls or even adults your age?
Yeah, if you're an adult my age and your self-esteem is not already there, it can play a part in it, because what we see, like with the commercials, as far as Victoria's Secret or anyone that's modeling bathing suits, like for myself, I'm big busted. I don't have the flattest stomach, so for me, if I wasn't already confident in who I was, I'll be like, man, I need to try to get like that, whether it was surgery and killing myself. That's what I'll do.
But why do you think that it lowers your self-esteem? Do you think that is what leads African American women to go and get maybe surgery?
Yeah, it does. Because I don't want to say with our culture, but I can use myself as an example. I don't have a problem with that. Weight. Since after college, weight has always been an issue. I don't want to say an issue, but that's always something I battle. So, I want to keep my weight down. Okay, if I get to this certain weight, or if I feel a certain way in my clothes, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to drop off 20, 30 pounds. But now it's easier. They take away the hard work, with the exercise and the eating right. I think, it has a lot to do with discipline. So yeah, I think for me, because my confidence and my self-esteem is already there, it's based on how I feel as a person. Because even if I walk in a room and I'm with somebody that's flat chested, not flat chested, but, breasts that sit up, flat stomach, I'll walk in the room and think, yeah, she got nothing on me, and I got the stomach,
Yeah.
So it's all in who you are and how you were, what's instilled in you.
It's basically just what you think. If you think that person looks better than you, then it's gonna overpower you.
It's gonna overpower. Okay. Yes.
So do you feel that less African American women are advertising products on commercials such as hair, clothes, and shoes?
Yeah, because that's all that has never been our stage as a African American. There's always been, the Caucasians that led that part of, the stage. And even for the ones like our Tyra Banks and our, Naomi Campbell's and stuff like that, they still have to have the look. You know, I can kind of give you an example what I mean by the look. Like, for instance, I can give you an example like with American Idol and when Jennifer Hudson was on American Idol. Honestly, I believe that she didn't win because she didn't have the look. Yeah. She outsang everybody on that show, but because she was dark, because she was fat, well, you know, what they consider fat, you know, she didn't win. Yeah. But sold more records than anybody that won on the show. So,
do you think that when commercials do advertise African American women, do you think that's only like to get more people to buy their products, or do you think that they really want like that African American woman?
Well, I think they're trying to be more diverse now. Yeah. I think they're trying to be more diverse because now we're we're coming in as our own culture. We're embracing our culture because before, even growing up, I mean, I had a perm at a young age. You know, I didn't want the naps, not because I wanted to be white, but because I wanted my hair flowing and long, and you know, and that's just what it is. You know, I never embraced, you know, my nappy roots, and still won't. But you know, but it's up to the individual. I think it's more diverse now because we have a lot of our beautiful, you know, African American women who are natural and who embrace their coils, and you know, I mean, I just think they're trying to be more open-minded to our culture.
So you basically you think it's just because people are starting to notice that.
Yeah, people are starting to notice.
Very few African American commercials.
Yeah, that and at the end of the day, with people selling their products, it's still about money. So if I see, okay, now I don't want to say trend or fad, but now that African Americans are embracing their culture, the manager of the product is like, okay, hey, let's make something that works for their hair. Because now we can make money because now they're embracing their culture. So now we got to make something for them. Yeah.
Do you think that by African American girls not having the features of white girls lower the self-esteem? Talking about not adults, but like girls maybe the age 13 or younger. Yeah,
absolutely. And especially depending of their circle, their posse of girls. It depends because when I was 12 and 13 or 13 to 15 or however you want, you know, the teenage years, we were about not being fat. We were about, you know, our hair in place. We were about, you know, looking nice, and, you know, we didn't want the, you know, be called the fat chick or whatever, you know, so, yeah.
And do you think that, like, for example, you do, like, Jasmine, your daughter, right? Mm-hmm. If she was to come and tell you that, you know, she doesn't feel comfortable in the skin that she's in, and that she wants to be like the white girls that she sees on TV, like, how would you, like, react to that? Like, what would you do to comfort her or something? Like, make her feel like, you know.
Yeah, if she came to me and said she doesn't like the skin that she's in, I'll ask her why. And then whatever her response is, I'll just feed off of that. But even now, she'll tell you at 9, 8, 7, from the time she was 6 or 7, 8 years old, I put in her, she has to love who she is. She has to love everything that she is. She has to be comfortable, you know, in everything that she is. And everybody, you know, I think she's the most cutest girl in the world, but everybody's not going to think that. Some people are going to think that she's ugly. Some people are going to think, you know, but she has to know that she's beautiful. Her beauty.
Okay. So you do have a daughter, right? You've made that clear.
Yes.
Do you think that by kids not having affection from their parents can have an impact on their life?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because that, like, everybody needs affection in order, like?
I think so. I think some type of affection, because without affection, you don't grow to have compassion for people.
And what do you mean by that? Like,
compassion meaning just being able to empathize with people. You know, if every time you hit a bump in the road, or every time, you know, it wasn't easy, something didn't go right, and you didn't have your mom there to say, hey, it's going to be okay, you know, we'll try to do it like this, and that kind of stuff matters, because if you bump your head into a wall and you have nobody to say, hey, it's going to be okay, you know, it's like you're going to keep bumping your head, and then how do you ever know to, you know, go a different direction, or to know that it's okay to bump your head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think that kids who it does impact, it causes them to mess with other kids that do have affection? Yeah. Like bullying.
It's a defense mechanism. A lot of times it's like I got to get you before you get me, and a lot of kids that do that, as far as bullying, verbal bullying, it's usually I got to get you before you get me because they're so used to being badgered or not being, loved or So yeah.
Okay. So like, you are a teacher.
I am.
So as a teacher, have you ever came in contact with a student that lacked attention and affection at home, and what have you done to at least help the situation? Like,
yeah, they usually happen.
because it can have a disturbance to you in your class, and to you too.
Yeah, every day. When I one of my beginning years of teaching, when I taught at Charles Drew, if nobody really knows, that's like in the inner city, right across the street. Yeah, right across the street from PSU Projects, and a lot of the kids that were going there saw a lot of things that I never had to experience growing up, like their parents getting shot, staying up all night. That's why they're sleeping in class, come to school hungry, and so what I started to do was, all right, like some mornings I'm like, all right, I'm giving out hugs today. Who taking hugs? And believe it or not, big grown 7th and 8th graders coming to get those hugs. So, and I think that's a lot of times when you build rapport with children, they'll work for you. I had some of the baddest kids in the school, and they couldn't understand, my colleagues couldn't understand why they would work for me, but because I've already built that rapport with them. I give you an example of this kid that I had. He came and he was, I ain't doing nothing today, miss. I ain't doing today, miss. I'm like, yo, what's happening? So then he later, decided to say, he kind of broke down and was like, he saw his dad get shot last night and his dad didn't make it and this and that. And so I asked him, well, how old are you? And he said 12. And I said, oh my God, really? My dad died when I was 12. And then that right there. So after I told that my dad passed when I was 12, and then we instantly made that connection, and it was nothing that he wouldn't do for me. It was nothing as far as schoolwork, as far as carrying my bags, and yeah. So
you do think it's important for a teacher to connect with their students, to at least get to know their students, not to just quick to either write them up or kick them out of class, because like you said, you never know what a child may be going through at a young age. Yeah,
I think that's very important. Connection is very, very important. And I say that because I find maybe like after my 4th or 5th year when I was teaching, I found that the first week or two, that's all I do is get to know the kids. We don't really do no work. We discuss rules of the class, and then we get to know each other. And yeah, that's very important. Connection is very important. That's what anything.
Is it easy for the students to open up to you?
Most of my kids like me, but some don't. Very few, but most of them love me. And the crazy part about it is, I'm very strict, but they talk to me about any and everything. As teachers, we're counselors, moms.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think that it would be easier for a child who wasn't raised in an inner city to make it out versus a child that didn't have to suffer or see things that a normal child wouldn't see?
I think it plays an intricate part, but I really, really, really honestly believe that it's all about the drive. Because
what do you mean the drive?
The drive, their determination. Because, for instance, you can have a child who's had it all, who had the silver platter, who had both parents in the home, both parents had good jobs, and all they saw was success, and grew up to be nothing. And you have the kid over here who's like, yeah, I don't want to live this rest of my life. When I get the chance, I want to finish school, I want to go to college, I want to be somebody. It's their own self-determination. Mm-hmm. So you can have it, and you can not have it, but it's who wants it is what gets it.
Okay. And have you ever faced discrimination at your job or a job you once applied for previously before?
Yeah, I didn't get a job because I wasn't Hispanic. And the lady wanted to hire me, but I couldn't get it because I didn't speak Spanish fluently.
What job was this?
That was a social worker position in the Dade County school system.
And how did you find out that was the reason why?
I'm almost certain that was the reason why. Nobody told me that. It's not written in stone, but I was the only African American woman that interviewed for the job. All the other 3 women after me were Hispanic. Yeah. And it was for, in that area, I guess they really needed Hispanic social worker, but yeah, I know I was more qualified for the job.
How did you feel like when you were rejected?
I felt like it probably was, I don't want to get political, but yeah, we are in America, but we go to any other country, we have to learn their language. I feel like it should be a benefit if you know a second language, but I don't feel like it should be required, especially in America.
Okay. Do you think that the community you grew up in had an impact on your life?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
And why is that?
Because the community I grew up in was family oriented. You know, neighbors looked out for other people's children. I mean, community is everything.
Yeah. When you say neighbors looked out for other children, are you saying like they were allowed to, for example, if you did something wrong, they were allowed to beat you?
No, well, they wasn't allowed to beat me per se, but they, you know, a lot of times they did. They'll tell your parents. So a lot of things you wouldn't do because this neighbor was home or Miss Johnny home. You can't go outside because my mom said don't go outside. Miss Johnny will tell if she see me outside like that. But I think it takes a village because now that I'm a parent, I understand you don't catch and you don't see everything. You know, so for someone, as long as you know that that person has their best interest, your child's best interest, I don't see it being an issue with.
So do you think that the community you grew up in, like it made you who you are today? Did it make you like want to, for example, how you do try to make those connections with your students? Do you think that it what am I trying to say? Like, do you think it made you want to help those kids because of like the community you grew up in? Like knowing that some people seriously go through things that are unbelievable.
Well, you know what? That per se wasn't my community because my community was pretty, I don't want to say suburban, but, you know, I didn't have the shootings and the this and the that, but those are the children that I wanted to help because I felt like our children to see people like me that look, children, you know, now even like, you know, kids in high school, kids in middle school, they need to see, especially girls in high school, they need to see African American women that are successful and that who are, you know, doing things and, you know, to say, oh, okay, wait a minute. Oh, she had her mom. Oh, her dad's not here. Oh, you know, her dad wasn't at home, but she still was successful. So I think that's very important.
So why do you think it's more so girls to see it versus boys?
Even now, they're trying to get more African American males in the school system because they feel like, you know, they need them more as a mentor. I say girls because girls gravitate to me, but I have the bad boy clan. Well, I call them bad boy clan. Not really bad boys. They just need some guidance. But, yeah, usually, you know, it's just, that's what our passion is for the girls.
The girls.
Yeah.
And like, don't you think it's important for like boys to have the guidance as well too? Because
I think it's important, but I don't feel like as a African American woman, I can give a black male what he needs.
Yeah,
that's why I feel like, you know, black African American males, you know, they're trying to lure them in the system because that's who our black males need to see. Because I can't, you know.
So would you like? Not saying you, because you don't have a son.
Right.
But saying, for example, as a single mother that doesn't have her son's father in her life, how would you think it would be, like, do you think he will need guidance, like, more? Because obviously you said that a mom wouldn't be able to give guidance to her son.
Well, let me kind of clarify. I don't mean that a mom wouldn't be able to give guidance to her son because she would, for the motherly aspect of it. And then as far as the, you know, the independency part of it, we're teaching him, you know, to be able to do things on your own, as far as keep your own, you know, keep your house clean, learn how to cook, learn how to, because a lot of women have taught their sons how to do that. What I'm saying is, our black males go through a lot as black males. Even when they are successful, they have to work twice as hard. That's just the way of the world. But what I mean by that is, if I was a single parent, and especially if I was a single parent with a black male, I would pull out, I would reach out to my uncles, and I would reach out, because at the end of the day, I still can't teach him how to be a black male. Like, I could tell him, hey, go take out the garbage, hey, but I still would never know what he truly goes through out there, because I'm not that.
Do you think that by a person having a rough life or struggling makes them eager to be successful, or do you think it makes it easier for them to give up? Saying, for example, you know how you did lose your father at a young age, but you still managed to pull through and be able to be successful. You didn't let that stop you, because you could have just said, of course your father is very important to you, so you could have just said, well, forget school, I'm not gonna do this, I'm gonna catch it, like, be mad at the world.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Do you think it makes them want to be more eager to be successful, or it helps them like another step to just use it as an excuse?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going through this, so this is why.
I was going to say, it's still, that goes back to your drive and your determination. I have some friends who say they were promiscuous, or they were out there because they didn't have their fathers and stuff like that. But I'm like, yeah, I didn't have my father either, but that's still what I wanted to do. It's still my drive, So, yeah, that I can't say, I can't point and judge her because of, she wasn't strong enough to still, come out and be successful and stuff like that, because what, damaged her may not damage me, because maybe I already had the foundation, meaning I already knew who God was. I already knew where my faith comes from. And I also had a pouring support from my family. I don't know if she had those same things, so that, so I don't really judge her. But I also do know that it comes a time and a point where it can't be your family anymore. It can't be your parents. When do you want it for yourself? I hear people at 35 saying, yeah, my daddy or my mama wasn't there for me, so I had to do this and that. Yeah, but when do you want it for yourself? At 30, you still blaming something that happened when you were 10? So. And
you don't think it's okay for someone to use what happened to them as an excuse? Like,
I don't think they use it for an excuse. I just think that they don't bounce back from it. Yeah.
And you would agree, like, it is difficult to back.
Very difficult. It's very difficult. That's not nothing. That's why I say, if I didn't have the support, or I didn't have my mom always instilled in me, like, you have to want it. I can't want it more than you. You got to want it. Regardless. Even if my mom didn't want it for me. I have a family member who has a mom that's still out there, and if she still held on to that, she wouldn't have half of the stuff she has. Right?
Yeah.
Because she was determined.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Would you say that society has a negative impact on children? Or is it going back to your drive, like you said?
When you say, what about the society has a negative impact?
Like, for example, the shootings, the very young girls getting pregnant at young ages, the smoking, the drinking. Like, do you think that has a negative impact on children?
Yeah, I'm sure it does, but it's all about exposure too, and what your children are exposed to. A lot of times, like, even like now, what I'm dealing with, if I say, I'm thinking about changing jazz school, but with the area I live in, I don't like the schools. So you say, okay, well, you go, as a parent, you go to extra yard and say, okay, I need to do like a parent choice transfer. I need to get, you have to try to expose your children to better things. You can't prevent it. You can't prevent things from happening, but you also have to keep them aware, but it's all about exposure.
Okay, well, thank you, Ebony, for your time. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
participating in my video.
You're welcome.
You did very good right away with your responses.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Hi, my name is Kenniyah Jenkins, and I'm doing a reflection based on the interview I did on my cousin. So the questions I asked my cousin was pretty good. The responses she gave me was very long and brief and very understanding. She's a very well educated person. But this is my point of view of the interview. Many things that she talked about in the video was very life learning and a good thing to hear. I learned that beauty is not only about how you look, but it's also about how you carry yourself, your personality, and what you think of yourself. Many people have different opinions of what they have on the meaning of beauty, and beauty is not only just how you look or the color of your eyes or how your hair looks, but it's how you carry yourself. Basically, if you carry yourself like you don't really care about yourself, or your personality, you have a bad personality, bad attitude, then that's your beauty to me, learning what it is. Also, you also have to have self-esteem within yourself. Because many people get let down by other people of what they say to them. Maybe for example, if someone says, "Oh, she's ugly," that can lower the self-esteem of the person. But if you already have your self-esteem built and it's strong, which is it should be, so that when someone does say something that's not nice to you, it doesn't let down your self-esteem. Having self-esteem is very important because it's how you feel about yourself. For example, I know I'm pretty, so I wouldn't let anyone else tell me otherwise. Like, you have to have that built in yourself. Like my cousin said, if someone was to walk in a room that looked better than her, she wouldn't care because she already has that self-esteem built in her, that she knows that she's pretty and things like that. So she wouldn't let another person who is prettier than her lower her self-esteem about herself and how she feels about herself, because her self-esteem was already built. And I also asked her a question about how little girls that are African American self-esteem are lowered because of Caucasian girls. And she did agree with that, because it's the fact that they do have the long hair and the blue eyes and stuff, and that makes the African American girls want it too. For example, that's why some girls get longer hair or smaller bodies, just so that they can be white. But it's no need for that, in my opinion, because you perfect the way you are. You shouldn't let just because another skin color influence you to do something else to your body so that you could look like that skin color. I also asked her, does she think that everybody needs love and affection? And she responded with yes. And that was actually my answer before I even asked her. I feel that she feels that everybody needs guidance, which is true. Not everybody knows the right way to take, and even sometimes a person may be going down the wrong path, and by meeting someone that's going to teach them the right path, shows them like, hey, don't do this, that's not good for you, you should go this way. It's just like everybody needs guidance and love also. And the reason why I say that everybody needs love is because you never know. For example, as she said in the interview, how will you know if it's okay to bump your head or that you should bump your head? Because bump your head, you realize that it's okay. In life, everything is not perfect. Some things are not going to go your way, and some things are not going to go your way, and that's okay. And that's why you have guidance to show you what way to go, and if it doesn't go your way, another way to take, which is why you need guidance. Also, sometimes about love, a person receiving affection. Everybody needs affection, especially children. And if children don't have affection, it can even lead up to bullying, as I said previously in the interview, which it can, because especially bullying. For example, if it's two kids, one child that's not receiving affection at home and a child that gets affection at home, the child that is not getting affection at home may start bullying the child that does, just because they are not receiving the same thing, or they know that they have something that the other child doesn't. So that can increase bullying there. Also about about coming from two different cities. It doesn't really matter. If you want to do something in life, you can do it. It doesn't matter if you're from the city, Liberty City, Overtown. It doesn't really matter. You want to go pursue your life and do something with yourself, that's what you can do. It doesn't matter about where you're from or the color of your race. If you set your mind to it, you can do it. And I previously asked you in the interview video, who do you think will be more eager to wanna do something? A person that is from a very, very rich area, we're gonna call it Beverly Hills, for example, that's the only name I can think of, or a person that's from the city. And as she said before, it's about your eagerness. It's about who wants it more, because like she said before, you can come from a family who provided you with any and everything and grow up to be nothing, but someone came from the city and said, hey, I want to make it out, this is how I want to be in life, and it actually became something. So it's about your eagerness and what you want to do and how bad you want it. And I also learned in the video that at some point in time, it cannot be your parents, that you have to want it for yourself. Because if you don't want it for yourself, then it's not going to happen. Yeah, your parents can instill it in you. Hey, this is right. Go to school, make grades, pay attention in class. But if you don't want to do it, then you're not going to do it. You understand? You have to want it for yourself. And it cannot always be your parents. It has, at some point, they have to let go. And you have to take full responsibility and do it for yourself. Also, for example, when you may be going through something, many people try to use it as an excuse that, hey, because this happened to me, this is the reason why I act this way. But in reality, the truth is, even if you are going through something, you cannot use it as an excuse for people to have sympathy for you, because they're not. I've learned that this world will chew you up and spit you back out. At some point, you have to come back from it. You have to come back from it. For example, my mom, she didn't grow up with everything I have. It was very difficult for her, but she had to come back from it, because if she stayed on the path that her parents were going, or in the life that she was going through, I wouldn't have as many things as I had today, and neither was she. At some point in time, you do have to come back from it, and you cannot let that stop you from becoming who you can be and who you want to be. So you just have to want it for yourself. And I feel like the interview was great. I thank my cousin so much for participating in it. She gave really good responses, and I think that the interview can be very impactful for somebody who may be going through something, and even children. So yes, that's my reflection on the video, and thank you.